Hey, cheers, everybody. Thank you so much. I guess you can feel the excitement, how much excited I am today. And मेरे ख्याल से सबसे बड़ा reason भी यही है कि this podcast is I'm doing I don't know. To be frank, I'm equally excited and equally nervous because this was the something that was on my bucket list since very long. The day I met our guest for the very first time, I still remember I was listening into one of the auditorium in one of the forum, and I was very keen that one day, if I ever get a chance to interact with this lady, I'll be more than happy. And luckily, what the balls turned out, and I equally get a chance to work closely with her. नाउ इंटरेस्टिंगली सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज जो मेरी लाइफ में प्ले करी है दैट इज माइंडसेट how you see the things coming your way and how you accept those challenge, because as the title says, leaders creates the leader. But what it takes for a leader to be a leader, I think experience plays a very important role, confidence plays a very important role, but the most important part among all those is the mindset. अब माइंडसेट बनता है आपकी सराउंडिंग से, द वे यू हैव बीन ब्रॉन एंड ब्रॉट अप. So I never ever said that if you are coming out of the very highly professional urban cities, then you can grow your mindset. No, it just take the right approach. Matlab, if you see the very small example, I guess you must have been going to the hotels before this pandemic. सब लोगों ने उस छोटू को तो जरूर देखा ही होगा who used to serve on your tables. हम लोग एक बड़ा एग्जाम्पल बड़े ही छोटे से माइंडसेट से स्टार्ट करते हैं कि अगर हम उस छोटू को देखते हैं, द स्मॉल किड हु इज वर्किंग सर्विंग योर टेबल्स और क्लीनिंग योर टेबल्स, हम उसको छोटू बोल देते हैं. अगर आप सच में देखो, दिस छोटू बॉय आई गेस हैज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑन हिज स्मॉल शोल्डर्स. हम जिनको छोटू बोलते हैं, आज उनके ऊपर उनके परिवार की सबसे बड़ी जिम्मेदारियां हैं. और दूसरी तरफ अगर हम लोग ये देखें, इस छोटू को हम देख करके सब लोग बोलते हैं कि यार इस छोटू से काम नहीं करवाना चाहिए, कैसे पेरेंट्स हैं जो इस छोटू से काम करवा रहे हैं. दूसरी तरफ अगर आप एक फॉर्चुनेट फैमिली से हो और आप ही का बच्चा अगर फिल्म स्टार्स या मूवीज में अगर काम कर रहा है, तो हम उसकी वाहवाही देते हैं और हम अपने बच्चों को बोलते हैं कि उसके जैसा बनो. So don't you think that contradict? That is nothing but your mindset. Second example लेते हैं. बड़ी ही जगह पर अगर आप एक स्मॉल टाउन से आ रहे हो, बहुत जगह पर आपको बचपन से ये सिखाया जाता है, डोंट टॉक टू द स्ट्रेंजर्स. अनजानों से बात मत करो, अनजान लोगों से बात मत करो. और दूसरी तरफ आज अगर हम एक छोटे से बच्चे या बच्ची की बात करें, दे आर बीइंग फोर्स्ड टू मैरी समवन हु डोंट इवन दे नो. अरेंज मैरिजेस. डोंट यू थिंक दैट इज अ कॉन्ट्राडिक्टिंग फैक्ट? दैट इज नथिंग बट योर माइंडसेट. बहुत छोटे छोटे एग्जाम्पल्स हैं जो आपके साइड के अंदर हैं. वन ऑफ द foremost example, if you can correlate, because I am the one who has always believed it takes a mindset to achieve your dreams. आपकी जेब में अगर छेद है ना, तो सिक्के गिरने से पहले लोग गिर जाते हैं. तू, तुम, आप, आज आप किसी इंसान को देख करके नहीं, उसकी पोजीशन देख करके लगाते हो. So it just take a mindset, treat everybody equal. And I believe that what I have learned from the mindset, most important thing that I see being, if you are the individual who is looking to be yourself called as a leader, and this is the thing that I have taken from our guest today, that leadership is lifting a person's vision to high heights, the rising of the person's performance to the higher standard, the building of a personality beyond its normal limitation is what the leaders does. So let me just quickly like share a thought that when I was like chasing for some of the things in my life, and I reached out to Amita, I openly went out to her and I said that, hey Amita, I don't know what it takes to be a solution architect, but I want to give a shot. I want to learn. I want you to please guide me, give me a roadmap so that I can perform. And if it is okay, even if I get fail, I'll be happy to accept it. And today, with her guidance, the roadmap, she gave it to me. I fortunately become a solution architect, and not even, I also got lucky that she's now happens to be my manager. And even so, even lucky when I reached out to her for this podcast, she accepted the invitation. And more importantly, just to give a brief, she has been in the industry since like more than 20 years plus. She has been managing the people. And that's why I thought of that if somebody needs on this podcast who can guide us rightly about the leadership connect, talking about how to tackle these failures that everybody faces at their individual level, it should be none other than Amita. So we are gonna like talk a lot about the journey of her, how she has been into the industry, what the mindset she has always adopted, why she is so successful in managing people, and more importantly, people, please show some love in the chat section while I'll introduce to you Amita Roy. Hey Amita, thank you so
Hi.
much for accepting the request. Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers, Gaurav. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's entirely my pleasure to be here to interact with all of you. And honestly, I'm as nervous because, I rarely come and talk about the kind of topics that you want me to talk about. I probably am a lot more comfortable talking about Red Hat technologies, and, everything else around that. However,
Yes.
yeah. So, to add to the points that you were making, honestly, I think leadership is not so much about experience and titles. It is more about how you lead, right? How you are able to really demonstrate passion in whatever area you pick to do, right? How you do
Right.
not allow the opinions of others to drown your own inner voice. So that strength of conviction is what makes a leader. If somebody is waiting for a title to lead, then you're not ready. That's what I would say.
Yes, and I guess we are fortunate. I have been working with you, and many of our viewers have already listened you when we hosted a similar session in our Cheers 1.0. And since then, I guess whenever I interact with my team, Amita, one thing that you share to build your brand, I guess since then, the day we started this foundation of Cheers with Gaurav, and we are thankful that you seeded us that seed that we were looking for, and you forced that motivation into us that to build your own brand, because nobody else is going to help you and you have to stand for yourself. So thank you so much from the entire Cheers with Gaurav team to help us in growing that what we are doing today. Okay. So very first thing I want to ask you, Amita, and then I'll give chance to a few of the students who have been joining us. So first thing I just want to ask you is that, do you remember the first success that you enjoyed? Means being in the industry, what was the first encounter that you thought that, okay, this is something I really wish to do as a kid?
Hmm. That's a tough one. That's a tough one because the way I have been conditioned has been to enjoy every little success along the way, right? Whether it was the in school, winning in the basketball matches that I used to participate in, or in a debate competition or whatever, right? So I think I have enjoyed every success that has come my way. But from a professional standpoint, the day I walked in for an interview, and I really didn't know what I was in for. I just went in because somebody in my network had told me that, perhaps, it was just after college. I mean, my results were not even out. They said there is possibly a summer job that you can do at this place. And I went there. It was 12 noon. And the person said you can start at 2 in the afternoon, same day. So, I had to just call and tell my mom that, I won't be coming back anytime soon because I'm starting my first day. I think that was my first encounter with, let's say from a professional standpoint, success.
Okay, awesome. So I just want to reiterate the fact that we are going to talk a lot about failures that everybody faces in their life, because I don't think that failure is nothing that losing your financial liability or standing independent and then you get fall down. It's all about rising back. But how does you rise back? Even for the students, it is more important nowadays because of this pandemic. Everybody is a bit concerned that whether they will able to get the job or whether they are going to compete against the tier one colleges or the most reputed industry people. So I have been giving this opportunity to a lot of students out there to interact with the industry professionals so that they understand why it is important to practice leadership skill sets or the soft skill sets right from the industry when you have thought that you are going to be an engineer or when you have started your career. So with that thought, I want to bring my first guest, he is again a student coming out of the college. He reached out to me as soon as he saw that poster that, hey, I also want to got a chance. And he worked closely. He have been featuring one of other the podcast. So I just want to invite Harshil. Hey, Harshil, how are you doing? Cheers. Thank you.
Good afternoon, good morning, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
It's a clumsy time. So, my basic question from the start, like to give a ice breaking through the session, would be being a student and exploring the industry. Every time you encounter, you don't believe that you'll be getting a success out of it, but it doesn't come out as a failure. It comes out as rejection. But during like facing those rejection time by time, some students, not some students, even myself, I start getting into that situation where I self doubt my current situation and go into that state where I feel like what I'm doing and what should I do. Then there we need some certain roadmaps, certain guidance, certain mentors. So I would ask you like through that time, being a third like pre-final student, what is the roadmap of being like? For example, I'm being like front end and full stack developer using React Native. So is there any opportunity that or is there is this a myth that only companies like unicorns hire these developers, or even Red Hat hire these developers like React Native developers and so and so?
Okay. So, yeah. So first of all, I would say, am I going?
Yeah, it's
Okay. So I would say, first of all, attend, any, don't look at it as rejection. I would say, through the time when you get your first job to when you start interviewing, not everyone is fortunate that you'll get it the very first time, right? So all I would say is, in the industry, we have this whole concept of agile development. I'm sure you've learned about it in college as well. We say fail often, fail fast, right? So I would say just go ahead and face the rejection many more times. At some point, you will succeed, right? And it is not rejection. It's rejection is what you perceive, right? Who defines that? The company is not thinking about it that way, right? They have a finite number of jobs and they have maybe so many number of applicants, right? So it is not a reflection on you, but it's rather the best person for the job that they are looking for. Maybe the job that you're the best person for is still waiting for you somewhere, and you will never find it unless you try so many more times, right? So that's the way to look at it. And to your question about the qualifications and the areas that you are going to graduate in, there are a number of opportunities, I'm sure. The reason why we hear more about the unicorns are because they're in the news more often, and maybe because they're born on the cloud, and they would look at some of these skills to help them get up and running. But these skills are useful everywhere, right? Across companies. And just in terms of because every company, for whatever products they develop, they will need to go the entire length, right? Whether they're building the user interfaces or the integrations. So every skill has a place to play. One just needs to decide, what do you want to do with the skills? Do you want to be a developer, for example? Or like me, I started my career on the development side, but then very soon found my true calling in terms of client facing roles, where I'm helping apply the understanding of my technology to solve the customer's problem, right? So even there, the fundamental knowledge that maybe I started off my career with, and then all the skills I learned along the way to build it, all come to some use or the other, right? So that's how one needs to look at and approach your career, and not be too hung up about I learned to be a developer and therefore I just want to be a developer. Maybe you'll get a chance to be on the support side, and there all that knowledge you have is going to be applied. Maybe you'll get a chance to be a trainer, the way Gaurav started off his career, where you get a chance to keep teaching those concepts till they become so strong in your own mind, right? But I can say this for sure, what we as companies look for is strong fundamentals, right? And the aptitude to learn, because we know for sure that the skills that you have come out of college with, are not necessarily the same skills. The industry is evolving so rapidly, right? In the open source community itself, things are changing so rapidly. It would be foolish for us to expect that the skills that you came out of college with are the ones that we will apply on the job. Quite often you will find that even when we select our interns, even when we do some of the hiring in my own team, I don't do graduate hiring, but I do people with 2 to 3 years experience. So what do we look for? We don't look for them to come straight away with all the skills that I would want, right? We expect that over a period of a year's time they will pick up those skills. So we look for the attitude, aptitude, the soft skills, how you're able to assert yourself in a group, maybe how you stand out among the others, right? These are the things that we look for, and that is really why everybody has to have that conviction. So it doesn't matter, right, who defines failure. Who says that 35% is the pass mark and beyond that is failure. Who decides that if I don't get into this college, then I'm a failure. It's not, right. It is these are just perceptions. One needs to have the conviction in your own mind that you are good, and everyone is good at something, right? So you have to just find that something that you're really good at, and then be extremely passionate about it. And once you become very passionate about it, you'll start loving doing it, right? And then you will not feel that I'm in a rut, or I have to wait till the economy gets better, I have to wait till this thing happens, I have to wait till I get this perfect job. Those are our own mental aspirations, where we keep thinking that life will suddenly get better if this happens, right? It's never going to happen. We just have to look at the present and look at what I can do with the present moment that I have.
Thanks so much, ma'am. But now talking about the like you covered all the part, aptitude and skill set. But always in the end, like in the interview section, company specifically sees for that attitude part. So can you like briefly describe like what should company like what are the company looking for, and what should you prepare for that attitude test?
I would say authenticity. I cannot tell you, what an attitude should be, because that is your own authentic self that has to reflect. Because as a person that has interviewed a lot of people, I can tell you when there is a lot of fluff that I see, and where there is genuine content in the person. And it has nothing to do with degrees and everything else. When you keep meeting a lot of people, we start seeing through the ones who are pretending to be something that they are not, and the ones that are just being themselves. Just be yourself. That is the best attitude that you can carry. Honestly, there is not much difference between people. If you ask me, there's very little difference between two people. That little difference is the attitude. And when does that difference become huge? When that attitude is positive, and that will radiate, that will show.
Awesome. So thank you so much, Harshil. I guess one thing which we all were eager to hear was failing fast and learning fast and make the difference. So thank you so much, Harshil, for bringing that
Thank
part
you so much,
up,
sir.
and we'll catch you in short while.
Thank
So
you so much, ma'am.
My pleasure, Harshil. All the best.
okay, so next up is one of the girl. She is in actually second year of her college, and luckily I have been working with her in a team called the Hustlers, and I got a chance to get introduced with her, and what they are doing was something really like commendable, and I guess a big shout out to Hustlers. And yes, but now I just want to hear from Arushi what she thoughts about the failures and what she needs and help. Hey Arushi, cheers. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Gaurav sir. Hello, ma'am. Hope you're
Hi,
doing well.
I'm doing well. How about you?
Ma'am, fine, all's good. So, ma'am, like I have a very skeptical kind of question, but it's
Sure.
actually a fact actually. So it so happens that oftentimes when we are solving some basic things, or we dwell deep into technologies and start working on a particular technology, and start exploring it, so we find that there are many obstacles in the long run. But somehow it happens that there is this time we come across when we feel that we aren't able to keep up with it, with the course. We start self-doubting ourselves, like we aren't able to keep a track, or we feel demotivated. There is this kind of situation, this kind of phase. So how would you describe this, how to overcome this phase? Like, there are many motivational talks which say that you shouldn't be depressed from the failures, rather than improve yourself. In the long run, it will help. Patience makes the way. But still there is this thing which goes in the long run. So how would you describe that?
First of all, I think it's very natural. It's very natural to feel that emotion, and it's very easy for, any motivational speaker to say, snap out of it.
Exactly.
It's not going to happen, right? So, first of all, accept it, accept that I'm feeling this emotion, and, how long you want to dwell on it, you can decide. Do you want to feel bad about it for 1 day, 1 hour, 1 week? Accept it, allow that feeling to sink in, allow that feeling of rejection, or feeling demotivated, or whatever it is, right? And then bounce back. That is where we talk about the resilience, right? And then one needs to also think about, is this really what I'm good at? Why am I going after this? See, I'm not saying dump the problem, try to solve that problem, but then that particular technology, what is it that's drawing you to that? Is it your own interest in it, or is it because people are telling you that this is that new bright shiny object, that is of value, in the market, and therefore I need to master this, right? So that is where sometimes we have that little feeling that everybody is doing this, whatever it might be, right? Data science, or what was that new thing, and I should also be doing it, or I'm missing something if I'm not doing it. And sometimes that becomes our motivator. And then when we find that we either don't have the aptitude for it, or we're finding everybody else is going ahead of us, that is what creates that feeling within ourselves, right? So that's the reason I said we are generally passionate about what we are good at. You will always find that, right? How do we work on, for the longest time, I have found that I'm not a very creative person. Okay. And I feel very bad, about it, right? Like, for example, an original idea, I would not get that idea. But very soon I resigned to the fact that there are many others who are very creative. Maybe the best ideas can come from them. But I'm a very rational and logical thinking person. So I can say whether this idea will work or not. I decided that is my strength, and I'll work on my strength. Forget about my weakness. My company, actually, my previous company, sent me on a training for creative thinking, because we did one exercise of brain mapping, and we found that creativity was one quadrant in my brain that apparently is not very well developed. But it was very interesting that creativity can be taught as well, and I actually enjoyed that course they sent me to. But back to the point, just decide how long you want to feel demotivated about it, and then bounce back. That's the only way I can say, because we cannot, it's very difficult, right? We're all emotional people, we're all wired on emotions.
Exactly.
And we can't just snap out of it. So give yourself time, but don't make it infinite. Just decide that now it's enough, and let me go back to solving that problem, or let me find a new problem to solve.
Yes, ma'am. And ma'am, like, I had one more question, that you have been a professional in this industry for since like a very long time. So how would you describe what a successful person is, like, in your eyes? Or what do you think is an image of successful person? What traits would he possess, or like?
Okay, or she, right?
Yeah,
So
or she.
yeah. So a successful person, is, what is success? Again, I want to define it by, who defines that success. You have to define it for yourself. Some people may look at me and say, okay, she has maybe arrived in her profession because of a certain title, or a certain standing in the industry, right? Now that could be their parameter of success, which is a designation or a title, or what is it, your position of power in the
Right.
industry, right? For my father-in-law, okay, he's no more right now, but at one point, for him, The definition of my success was how many people I had in my span of control. There was one point in my career where I was the delivery exec for one particular opportunity, and at that point there were some 600 people in that org. It's not like all 600 reporting into me, but I was heading that org which had about 600 people reporting into. And then I moved on to another role that had 60 people, and he somehow in his mind, that success was the number of people reporting. So there's a definition of success can differ for different people, in their eyes. But what is it that gives you satisfaction? What are you success? Everyone is successful in life, if you ask me. People are successful sometimes in their relationships. People are successful sometimes. Sometimes somebody may have a lot of money but not necessarily happiness, right? So
Right.
everyone's definition of success should be defined by themselves. What is success for me? So that should be my definition, and that should be my own definition, and not somebody else's definition of what success should be, because then success will become very elusive. I'll always be chasing after fame or money or title or something else or something else or something else, and it's never ending. It will never end, right? So so while this may sound very philosophical, but
No, it's true.
yeah, but for me that is what it is. And I have also decided that my happiness or sorrow is not going to be defined relative to
By
the
others.
person next to me. If this
Right.
person has been more successful than me, I'm very happy for them. Maybe their circumstances, maybe and then you have to be happy with, right? So for example, a lot of people who know me know this, that I have spent most of my career working out of Hyderabad. A lot of times it was detrimental to my success, quote unquote, in terms of the corporate ladder and the kind of roles that I can do, because I was not willing to relocate to a Mumbai or Bangalore or Delhi for various reasons. Okay. But then I had to define my success within those parameters. If I'm not ready to move, then what am I willing to do? I was willing to travel. I was willing to travel Monday to Friday, as long as weekends I'm back in Hyderabad. So that was how I defined, and that's how I worked. And I knew that these are my shortcomings. I will not be located there. So therefore, I will not be able to do the corridor conversation, cafeteria conversation, the important things. Whenever I go, it is, I go there for a specific purpose, do that and come back. But then that is the parameter within which I worked, and carved out whatever makes me happy, and then I'm happy where I am. I could have been maybe there if I had done that move in my career, but that's so everyone has to define that relative. What does success mean to you? You define that. What is it that you're passionate about? What is it that you want to achieve in life? Make that your career purpose, make that your personal purpose, find that sense of purpose, and you'll find success in that when you achieve it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, hope I answered.
Thank you, ma'am. It was nice.
Okay, I guess I was correlating to the thought that I still remember this was the same thought that Amita also said it to me. Don't let others define your happiness or sorrows. And I guess about like 6 months, 8 months back, when I was going through the situation, she just taught me this. And trust me, Arushi, and all the viewers, this actually works. That if you are honest to your work, and if you think that you are happy, you are successful. Don't judge on somebody else's circumstances that they are earning good or they have something that you don't have. You might be looking at their chapter 20, 25, 27. Like I guess Arushi and me would be correlating that the amount of experience that Amita have, we are at the same age. So we cannot compare to her, right? And who knows, someday with her blessing, we will be also achieving something
Yeah.
good, right? And that's the reason I said what Amita has said it to us, we'll keep in mind and we'll pursue that how best we can go ahead. So thank you so much, Arushi, for bringing that thought
Thank you,
up.
sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so wonderful, Amita. I just want to share one thought that when I started this Cheers with Gaurav, I was nowhere close that this thing will happen to me. Trust me, you are here, and at this point of time, I can see from my dashboard that there are 370 live viewers who are watching us. And I want to confess that I was not even in thought that I would cross even 10,000 views on my channel. but because of the efforts that student have done it for me, or I would say that my family is doing it for me. Like my sister set up the whole setup for today, that okay, it's Amita, you have to look good, you need to wear this and that, and you have to do this setup. So I'm fortunate to her. Mom made ensure that nobody is stepping beside me so that it looks good. And similar, when it comes to my team who creates all the thumbnail, I really want to say thanks to Priyanjali, Harsh, Upender, Anand, Rudra, Shivani, and the list goes on, who supports me in background. And trust me, this is the time we are hitting 40,000 views on my channel. And it seems impossible. But if I keep on seeing some other YouTubers who have got an overnight success or whatever it is not going to matter. So this is where we feel happy, right? So thank you so much for always guiding us. Now I just want to bring one more individual. He's working as an intern at Teradata, and but still he's a college professional. So let hear his thought that how he got the internship and what he thinks about the failure. Hey Karthike, cheers, welcome. You're on mute, man.
I'm sorry.
The best before COVID. Okay,
Yeah.
cheers.
So first of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity. And ma'am, just to let you know that I was super excited for having a conversation with you. And since last time I missed my opportunity to do so. So
My
here I
pleasure,
am
Karthikeya.
finally getting to have a conversation with you. So
So pleased to meet you.
my question for you is that since I'm almost done with my college journey and I'm entering a very professional state of I'm entering a professional life. So I've always found that throughout my college journey as well, constantly learning and working towards something has driven me. Like whenever some of my friends or colleagues were enjoying their weekends, I was staying back doing something or learning something, and that has given me that has never made me to think that I should also enjoy it. That kind of drive me. But now, for some time, I've been observing that people have started saying that I'm too much involved into work, and I try to explain that this is what I like doing, but I hope that somewhere I fail to explain why this is so much important. So how would I would like you to suggest some things to me.
Sure. Karthike, I completely relate because, I'd said this a little while ago that, when you're passionate about something, it shows, and that's when you start enjoying it. And then work is not work anymore, right? It becomes something that you really enjoy doing. I can completely relate because that's exactly how I have felt. And there were times when, and it's okay. It's, everyone is driven by something, right? And it's okay, if what you're doing is what drives you, then you'll never feel that it's work, right? It'll always be something that you enjoy doing. So it's all right to do it. You just have to decide what is that thin line between working very hard and being burned out, right? So that's that, as long as that awareness is there, then I think it's fine. And I, like I said, I relate because this is exactly the journey that I have also had for many years. And there have been times when people used to wonder and comment that the company is driving her so hard. I would say no. No company drives you that hard. You are the one that is driving yourself because you are very passionate about what you're doing and really want to be able to get things moving, get things done, and stuff like that. But in the hindsight of more experience, I would say, in the industry than you that's just starting off, I would say at some point of time we need to balance it out as well. Find time for friends, find time for family and stuff like that, because sometimes we get so engrossed in our work that we should not have, at least in future, any regrets that we did not spend enough time doing some of those things. Because I have seen one thing, and that is, for a company, and I'm saying this, that for a company, you might be the best and the most passionate employee, but then once you have left and joined another company, companies go on, right? And so sometimes we should not make our entire life only about our job. There should be enough balance on some of the other aspects as well. That's the only cautionary thing I would say. But if this is something you're passionate about, it is very difficult to explain to people. But carry that passion, that will carry you forward, because when you're really doing a good job, that will show and that will reflect, and then you become that go-to person. And when you become that go-to person, become really good at something, then automatically success will follow, at least from a professional standpoint. So don't feel the need to explain, unless that's what I would say. You don't have to feel compelled to explain. It's what drives you, it's what makes you happy. Learning is a very important aspect, right? One of the things when I look for solution architects, I look for the aspect of continuous learning. What is this person doing to exhibit that they have been learning continuously? Because in our job we have to continuously learn. Otherwise every new technology is coming in, our customers are talking about it. If we are not able to talk about it, then it becomes very detrimental, right? So continuous learning is very good. And if that is what drives you and that is your passion, keep doing it.
So that was a very good solution for my problem. Just one more question I had for you, that like my father used to tell me that it's the initial years of hustle that's going to decide what's my future going to be. So like he says that if I enjoy right now, and then I'll have to keep on working hard for the rest of my life. And if I work hard right now and attain something, like whatever be my or his definition of success be, that's totally our own perspective. But whatever, whenever I achieve that success, then later on, the rest of the years of my life would be like easy. So what's your standpoint on this thing?
Well, it's your dad who's told you this, and I'm sure he's saying it from some point of reference. But I would say that it's never just one way of doing things, right? It could be a certain mind frame and a mindset that we develop in our early years. For example, when I started my career, I started with startups. The first 3-4 years of my career were with startups. So even today, even when I work with some of the largest MNCs, I have the startup mindset, in terms of the way I work, the way I bring myself to the job, etc. It's a very, very startup and very entrepreneurial mindset that I have, which has helped me, that experience helped me, So whatever are your early, experiences can definitely hold you in good stead as you progress. But then, we don't know what curveballs come our way, right? As we progress, in our career. Sometimes I've seen people completely changing, and going and doing something entirely different after having, worked 10 years, very passionately on their thing, and then go into something very different, like take up some farming or do something, totally different from, what they were doing. So everyone's experience, I would say, is different. You will find your own North Star, as you keep progressing, I would say. You can learn from other people's experiences, but then don't let it define your mindset in terms of this is how it's going to be forever. Things will change, and things will change. And one thing is for sure, what got you here will not get you there. At every role, one needs to be able to perform, whether it's an internal success is only, your resume will only talk about everything you've done to this point, right? But then you have to succeed on that job, and then whatever, when you switch to another role, you have to again perform there. Whatever got you there is not going to get you to the next point.
That's
for sure.
right.
Yeah,
Like we have to prove at every point of our life that we are deserving for this.
You have to, and you have to make sure that whatever you have learned, you apply that. That's how we carry forward, right? Whatever you have learned, carry that experience to the next one and do it better the next time.
Yeah. So thank you so much, ma'am. That was really a fruitful conversation, and I'm glad that I could join this session today. Thank you so much, sir, for giving me this opportunity.
क्या भाई So definitely, Karthik, I remember when you reached out to me that Gaurav sir, I was waiting for Amita's ma'am's session, that when you're going to roll out this post, and I guess why there was not even a second thought that I could deny to it, because that honesty is something that I always look you for, right? So keep learning, and as Amita said, keep feeling fast and stand back. So thank you so much, Karthik. I'll see
Thank
you in a
so much,
minute.
ma'am. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Kartikeya.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Wonderful. So, Amita, before I bring down another person, I just want to ask you one thing that I always wishes to ask you, but I couldn't thought of asking. But I think that as we are hitting our bars high every single time, and I'm enjoying, while Karthikeya was interacting, I was just taking some screenshots so that I can capture these moments that when we are hitting one of the other bar. So last previous live, which we were doing, we could hit 350 or someone, and right now we have just even hit it 600 plus. So I'm excited. But I just want to ask you, Amita, that when you had some shifts from one org to another, like taking about your 14 years journey in IBM, and then you switch to an Oracle, and now you switch back to Red Hat. What is the one thing that you have always kept it constant, that this is something I wishes to keep always throughout my journey, or you recommend us, or even to the youngsters and all the viewers, that this is something that you should always keep in your mind?
Okay. So while I spent 14 years at IBM, they were not always doing exactly the same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Whenever there was a role that opened up that I felt that I might have a good chance to try out for, I put up my hand, So that is one thing I have always done, throughout my career. If there is, and I said earlier, right, different things drive different people, right?
Yes.
So for me, it was that constant challenge of doing something new, right? So a lot of people were surprised when at IBM, when I was leading all of Software Group and Services org, for IBM Software Group across all their entire portfolio. Why did I leave that and go and join Oracle to do something entirely different? Okay,
Right.
The opportunity was because at Oracle, what I was being offered was to do something on the application side of things. I had done so much on technology. Now I'm getting a chance to do something for ERP and customer experience and human capital management, the entire applications portfolio. That was
Right.
exciting for me. After having talked to CXOs, CIOs and CTOs, now you're getting a chance to talk to CFO, CHRO, supply chain management people. It's a different learning and it broadens your perspectives. So for me,
Right.
whichever role I have taken it from the point of view of what is in it for me. Does it broaden my perspective, or am I going to be doing exactly the same thing? So for me, it was about doing something different and broadening my perspective. That was always the challenge, and therefore I did not look to see whether is this a vertical move for me or is this a lateral move for me. It didn't matter. The last 2 or 3 roles I have moved laterally, because for me it was giving me a different experience, a different way of thinking. And today I'm able to have a better conversation with our customers, because now I understand the business perspective also that I got from that 3 years at Oracle, and that I feel makes me a better technologist.
Right. And I guess that is something that you always encourages us also to do. Keep broadening up your perspective, keep challenging yourself, keep learning new things. And that's the reason I always say to my students, or like the individual who comes to me, it's not about the technology that you should always focus on, because that you can easily learn somewhere. But the soft skills, the way you interact with the people, makes you a better human. So again, thank you. And I just want to ask you one more thing before I hand it over to Anand. I always see that you always enjoys the job. And one thing which I want all to also know, that you have been into IBM, then to Oracle, and then now into Red Hat. How does it feels that Gaurav Sharma is now working under you? Sorry.
Well, people are people, right, Gaurav? So, I have learned to enjoy interacting with people. And just by the way, something that a lot of people don't know is, left to myself, I'm not a very interactive or a very social person, but, when you come to work, that you're leading a team, that you have to interact with people. And now during the lockdown, it's more so, right? I have to
Yes.
interact with people via the camera, not face to face, right? So this is a different perspective, and you learn to accept that, and learn to so how's it managing, Gaurav? I don't know. I think I can learn a thing or two from you. It's-
No, definitely. Just that was for to create that some buzz around, and just let everybody know who have joined in middle that yes, I reports to Amita and I keep on learning every single day.
so do
Even
I.
when I fail, she always teach me one thing, that to stand back again. What wrong you did, analyze that and work on it. That you are not here to repeat your mistakes. So that is something that I am learning. And even if I take up the new challenge, I openly go and discuss. And this is what I encourage to every one of you who is like watching my video, that please search out for a mentor. Talk to everyone. There is nothing in this world that cannot be strategically implementable. If something it is not, let's move it out and let's do something else. So that's the part. Thank you so much, Amita. And now next up is Anant. He also works in my team, and he was there since we have met for the first time in Cheers with Gaurav 1.0. And he was the first one to ping me that I don't know about others, but I want to be in this session. So Anant, how you are? Cheers.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, you
Yes.
are.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you, Gaurav sir, for having me. For this opportunity, and thank you, Amita ma'am, for taking some time out. And we are
My
meeting
pleasure.
for the second time after Cheers with Gaurav 1.0. I don't know if you remember, but no problem. So my question goes like this: that many people are goal oriented, and they set their goal and pursue them as a madman. So I've seen some people like this. So, while pursuing our goals, lead us to fail in our paths, even after we try several times. So these failures reflect. Sometimes these failures reflect upon. Whenever we are like, should we? Should it like? Is it worth our time or not? Let's say like I'm interviewing as a candidate in a company, and I've already been rejected by it several times. So there is a thought in my mind, like not my mind, like everyone's mind, like should I continue to go forward because I want to do it, or should I take some time back, or like take a step back and explore more opportunities, then go back to this because I really wanted to do this. Like what kind of mentality and conviction is required as an individual to continue or to deal with this kind of thinking?
Right. So first of all, I think failure has too much of a negative connotation, if you ask me. If you just put a positive spin to it, then you'll have to, I think throughout, I think we're all just been conditioned to think of failure as something that is negative, right? So first of all, what is it about that company that draws you to that company, right? What was the reason you were rejected the last time? It's all right to ask that company. It's all right to ask the. There's some noise in the background, I think.
Okay, let
Somebody.
me just mute it.
Yeah. So I think it's all right to ask the company that you interviewed at, where did you not do well? I have so many candidates who have reached out post, being, turned down in an interview process. And if they have asked, I have also been extremely forthcoming in telling them exactly what was missing, and I'm happy to say that some of them came back, on a future date, for an interview again. And the next time they did well, because wherever the gaps were, they were able to fix that. And I was able to tell them exactly why this did not work. There were people where I said, look, the role for which you applied, you were not the best person suited for that job. But, right now, in hindsight, I'm thinking I have this opening that, perhaps, you might fit in. So there are people that have continued to engage with me, via messaging on LinkedIn, or, staying connected to ask if there are, positions that are now open that they might be able to apply for. And we never slot people. And I'm telling you from the other side, right, from the side of the where we are conducting a lot of interviews, and we stay connected with people. It's not like we write off people, that have not, performed in the past, right? There will be always opportunities where something else might open up. So go back to examine your motives. Why is it that this company you want to join? What is it that drives this company? What is it that is strategic for this company? Are my skills aligned to this? Or am I just pursuing something that is not going to happen? Right? One needs to do the reality check also. But if you know for sure that yes, this is what it is, this company's strategy, goals are all aligned to the areas that I'm passionate about, there is something that I can bring to this company, then make sure that shows out in the interviews, so that it can resonate with the person that is, and believe me that when that resonates with the interviewer, you will get selected. So that's when you need to, decide. And then, like I said, right, don't think of all the rejections. It is just that, at that point of time, for that opportunity, you were not the best person for the job. That's the only way to look at it. And don't feel that I got rejected, and this is the end of my opportunity with this company. That's what it is. And if you find that yes, there is some gap, and I need to go back and work on it and come back maybe in a couple of years time when I have that experience, then go and pursue another opportunity and come back when you're ready. It'll work out.
And one more question, there are many motivational gurus. I don't believe in that kind of motivation. Motivation comes from within, but they talk about a warrior mentality. So what do you think about this warrior mentality?
There are many motivational books, and my bookshelves are filled with only fiction, by the way. I have maybe one or two motivational books that I bought because someone told me to. People speak from their experiences. Whenever you see any people are making sure that the benefit of their experiences is available to others. And that is really what, if you look at any motivational person, right, they're speaking from their perspective, their experiences. Everybody's experience can be a little different, and then you can build your own motivations from those experiences as well, right? So warrior mentality may not be best suited for everybody, right? In terms of how you're going to tackle that problem, how you're going to rise again from the ashes or whatever it is, and fight another battle tomorrow. That could be a warrior mentality. But there is no one, what I'm trying to only say is there is no one thumb rule that says that this is the way to address motivation, right? So one needs to find that motivation from daily things, like that kid that Gaurav talked about that is serving at tables in some small town, to that auto rickshaw driver who has now converted his ambulance, his auto rickshaw to an ambulance to ferry some COVID patients. Motivation can come from the smallest things that we see around us as well. So motivation can come from within, or we can look for that motivation and inspiration around us. For example, if I look at somebody as a role model, I can try to see what are some of those things about that person that I like, and then try to emulate some of those things in my own life in whatever way I want to do, right? So there are different ways. It's a very interesting question, Anant, but a very, very deep thinking one that doesn't have a straight answer. So motivation can come from within, it can come from books. For some people, books work. For some people, podcasts work. For some people, hearing some of these gurus and other things work. So for every one of us, we have a different thing that motivates us, right? You see some people doing so much of social service. It drives them. It motivates them. For some people, it is something else. So each one of us has different ways that we get motivated, and we just have to find what works for us. For me, the books don't work. For me, what works is seeing the people around me. Just during this current pandemic, right, I'm inspired and motivated by the people in the WhatsApp groups that are helping somebody find a bed, find an oxygen, tell them where there is an ICU bed available. People that are helping with information, their time, their energy, their efforts. I've been very motivated just looking at that, rather than the people that are spreading fear, right? The people that are spreading hope. So every one of us, can find that motivation We just have to figure out and just look around us, and you'll find that motivation anywhere. So warrior or not warrior, there are different ways one can get motivated. And for me personally, I find my motivation when I look at people that are less privileged than I am, and then I realize life is not so bad. Whatever it is, I'm better off than somebody, and what can I do then to make, somebody's life better? That's the way I look at it. So everyone finds that,
I think like
Sorry, I can't think of a better answer, Anand.
actually, I already know that this answer will be like a very deep conversation. So we don't have that much time. So basically, I think like answer is justified. It is more about it is not about a warrior or not being a warrior. It is more about your mindset and from where you are getting your motivation from. It can be anywhere.
Correct.
So yeah, that's it. Like this is.
Thanks, Anand.
Thank you, ma'am, for
My pleasure.
taking this question.
Yeah,
Thank you, Gaurav.
Thank you. Always welcome, buddy. And thank you for so much of support that you have been doing to me and the entire team. Thank you so much. Okay.
Gaurav, very, very deep questions people are asking. Huh? Very, very profound and very, very deep.
So now you can understand that when I met these people, why I keep on like looking for people like you to help me always, because sometimes they ask such things to me and I'm feeling like, भाई अभी सिर्फ 2 या 3 साल हुए हैं. I'm working in the industry. I'm not that much huge good to guide you on these. So, but yes, nevertheless, I think that you are the right one. So it's being like quite long. Let's try to take 1 or 2 live questions that people has put it across. So the Hustlers team wants to know that however failure plays an important role in students' growth because they teach us to avoid mistakes, but it also demotivate us and sometimes people lose confidence. So how can we overcome these situations?
Okay, so failure is a part and parcel of life. Tell me one person that has not failed. Okay,
Yes.
So first of all, realize that failure is a reality. Okay, failure happens, and unless you have failed, how will you taste success and how will you know what it feels like to be successful, right? So all that you need to do is the first time you do something, it's a mistake. Okay, the second time you do something, if you've not learned from that mistake, then life has a habit of keeping on teaching you that same lesson till you learn it. Okay, that is when you make that same mistake again and again and again and again. So the point is, when you make a mistake, what have you learned? So that next time you fail better. Somebody has said this, you fail better next time. That means, learn something from the mistake. That doesn't mean you'll be successful the next time, right? Fail better. And, sometimes, the best of people, right? Whether you look at an Abraham Lincoln that failed some 6-7 times in his political career, and then he finally became the president, right? There are innumerable stories like that. And I think Edison said it best. He says, I did not fail. I just found out 10,000 ways that do not work, right? Something like that he had said. So how do you avoid mistakes? One way to do that is, if you have done it before and you know that the same thing you're going to do again, catch yourself before you do that again. If you're doing it again and again and again like that, it's becoming a behavior. It's not a mistake anymore, right? So that is what you have to just be conscious of. And once you develop that consciousness that I should not do this the same way the next time, then you realize it. But that realization has to come. Many times it doesn't come naturally. For example, when I connect with my teams, I have this habit, and I've done it for several years without realizing it. When I realized, I corrected it. I was just getting straight to business. If I call somebody after saying hi, I just get straight to the point of whatever it is, right? But increasingly, I got to understand that it's people that you're relating to end of the day, right? So a couple of minutes spending on some pleasantries, how are things, it can be the weather, it can be what's happening in your life, that 2 minutes connect creates that emotional connect, and then you can get down to business, right? I was not even aware till somebody pointed it out to me. Very recently, by the way, So don't, even have the illusion, whatever Gaurav tells you, right? It doesn't need 20 plus years of experience. There are things that, each of us can do at wherever we are, within your community, within your college, within your circles, whatever you can, you don't really need all the gray hair and the years of experience in the industry.
Yes.
But once you realize it, correct it. That is what is important. And don't lose the confidence, because like I said, think of failure as, I think that we learned this in school, like stepping stones to success, right?
Yes.
So think of failure as one more step. They say that you cannot get a very good driver unless you have curves in the road, right? If just straight roads you've learned driving, you'll never be a great driver, right? Think of
Right.
it that way. And, each experience, makes you a better person. And that's when you become better at making judgments, because you can make a judgment based on that experience you had. If you've had only good experiences throughout, how will you be a good judge of, how situations will pan out?
Yes.
That's what I can say.
Absolutely. And I guess you make me realize one of the famous saying that I always kept in mind when I was stepping, and my dad advised me that it's your decision. People will shout at you because now you're in the limelight, or people will throw stones at you. It's your decision that you want to get hurt or collect them up and build your own empire. As simple as that. So failure teaches you a lesson until unless you realize that it is teaching it. So
Exactly.
use that. So another question coming from Piyush, he says that what makes a leader take a risk knowing the candidate is not ready, but still onboarding him or her? Same needs to be justified when with the management team. Why, how, and on what basis leaders take that risk? Okay, this is something
Leaders
I would also love to know.
leaders take a risk when you sense the potential, the passion, the spark. I'll call it the spark. If we see that spark, we are ready to take a chance on that person. And then, it's up to that person whether they live up to that or not. But then giving them that chance becomes, the leader's responsibility. So I would say that is what it is. I would definitely, if I sense enthusiasm, if I sense passion, if I see that spark of wanting to do something, I definitely, would go ahead and take a chance on that person and justify to my management or whoever I need to do, right? Because I'm taking a chance on that person. Absolutely. That's what I look for.
Right. So I hope Piyush, you got the right point, and so as all the viewers. So next and last question coming from the audience is from the Harsh. He says that I am afraid that my mind tells me to do the different things every day. Like, let me learn this thing today, and tomorrow my mind will ask the question again to learn something else. So what's the solution?
Yeah. We all have several things, right? I should show you my bucket list sometime in terms of all the things that I want to do and never got around to doing, right? But be happy with the little things that you manage to get off, your list.
Yes.
That's the only thing. But it's very good to have a list of things to look forward to doing every day. But, I should show you when I start my day, I have these things. But then through the day, there'll be something that will happen, some escalation that will come, something else will happen. You get pulled into some last minute meetings, etc. And your entire to-do list deviates, right? So it's all right because everybody will have their plate overflowing. You just decide what is important to focus on. Don't let that, even if drops off your plate, don't let it don't let yourself lose sight of it. That is very important to come back and do it. So tackle off the urgent things, as ASAP, and then look at all the other things which are nice to do that can be done next week also, that can be done on a weekend also, and those are okay, for you to leave it. But it's good, I think it's very good, Harsh, if you have every day to look forward to, that these are all the different things I want to do. If you get one little thing done out of it, that's great.
Right. And I guess prioritizing the things which are important always plays a very, very important role. What are the checklists that you wishes to do every single day? So thank you so much, Amita, for guiding us on a lot of parts that we wishes, and I hope all viewers also enjoy it. But before we ask you to leave, I just want to ask you one thing, and I want to like always ask this from all the guests that I have been on my podcast. Thing is, when you are good, I have always been taught that this universe will do good things to you. Or if you are good with the others, definitely they will be also good with you. So I just want to ask you one thing, that according to Amita, what is gonna be her deathbed wish, that before like on that bed she's gonna lie, what she's gonna thought in her mind, or that is something that you want that people should remember about you, or any that wish that you would love to tell us as an advice that you should always practice this.
Well, I don't know if it's advice, because that will be my death bed last thought, right? So it will be very
Yes.
unique to me, and I cannot advise anybody else about it.
Yes.
But for me, I think if I made a difference to anybody's life, in whatever manner, that is enough for me. If that is what my last epitaph will read, that at least some one person benefited, from whatever I did, that I think would be a good enough achievement for me. And yeah, that's the way I would like to live my life.
So I guess let me tell you, we all are getting inspired every single day when we interact with you. And I guess I haven't shown up the comment section. It is filled up, and the lot more requests that are coming along with us. So thank you so much, Amita, for accepting the
My
request.
pleasure.
Before you step out, just a piece of advice to all the viewers that you want to give.
Okay, so a piece of advice to everyone is just be your own authentic self. Gaurav talked about personal branding that I mentioned last time. I just feel, be yourself. Don't worry about, all those voices that you may hear around you that will tell you you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, you're not rich enough, you're not, qualified enough. Don't listen to those voices. Your own inner voice will tell you what is right, and just follow that. You can listen to as many motivational talks, TED talks, but center yourself around what is important to you, and let that define your parameters for success, and let that be your guiding light. And then you will find happiness in yourself. Okay, so that's enough from me for today. So
Right.
thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for inviting me. It was my pleasure to interact with all of you. Thank you so much for all your
Always our
time.
pleasure. Always our pleasure. And again, thank you so much from the entire Cheers with Gaurav team,
Yeah.
because I guess the lessons we have learned today, we couldn't even thought of learning with the YouTube videos or like all the motivational gurus. With due respect, yes, we learn, but they are temporary. Everybody knows that, yes, if we are learning from somebody we can interact. So definitely that helps. So guys, please feel free to go and connect or follow Amita on LinkedIn, because she keep on sharing some informational stuff that might help you. And for the team, last time, if you want to say cheers, you are on the screen. So just last few seconds for you all. Anything that you wishes to say before Amita's leave?
Uh, like, okay, I'm speechless right now, but thank you, Amita ma'am, for joining us today. And now I have
Thank you.
got two chances to interact with you. I think there will be another one, but in the chat soon.
Sure. Thanks, folks.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
so
It
much,
was
ma'am.
really a very
You.
informative session. Thank you really very much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us
Pleasure.
today.
Bye, everyone.
Okay.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a good day,
Bye.
ma'am.
You too. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Amita, for being here with us. And for all the viewers, I guess one thing which I guess we all should say, guys, right? Anand, Kartike, Harshil, and more importantly, Arushi, that we all are happy, right? And one of the things that Amita just said, believe in yourself. So I hope you all guys enjoyed. And what I can say is that keep failing, learn fast. We don't have time to repeat the mistakes. And as I said in the beginning, like, don't be worried that if you are from tier 1 or tier 2 or tier 3 city college, don't be afraid of that, because definitely you must be hearing these voice loud than me कि तू तो नॉर्मल कॉलेज से था, तेरी जॉब इतने की ही लगेगी या उतने की. Society pressure is gonna be there, guys. Don't be afraid of that, because you know the highest rate of suicides are being committed from the IITs or from the NITs. Feel yourself blessed that you are into the situation where you are tackling the failures. And so does Amita has said it to you. Compare yourself in a good way, that you get an opportunity to interact with people like Amita today. You wouldn't have got that opportunity being attending IITs. With due respect, yes, everybody has their own unique style of tackling, but yes, compare yourself with this way. And last but not the least, I just want to leave you with the thought: always remember two facts. One, when you are sleeping on the flowers is your first night after the marriage. But when flowers are gonna pour on you, it is gonna be your last breath. When somebody goes off in this world, we enlighten the candles. And when we celebrate our birthday, we blows off the candles. So decision is yours. I believe I'm gonna leave all of you with the thought: change your mindset and see the things are gonna spin up around you the way you wishes, because it's only your brain who is limiting you to achieve the success again and again. Keep feeling, learning fast, and if anything is there for me, just connect with me. And I believe one signature thing that I wishes to do always, and I want to do with you all. Let's say cheers to everybody who is watching us. We hit a new number. That was 600 plus live audience. I was so excited. But thanks to you all for joining us live. Cheers, buddies. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Cheers. So with that, viewers, I hope you all enjoyed this session. Thank you so much for joining us live. What I can say to you all is that keep learning, keep inspiring. As Amita said, love yourself. Don't let others define happiness for you or sorrows for you. You are the one who decides that what you are going to achieve. And as I said in the last, always think about changing your mindset, because one thought can make you successful. One thought can make you defeat from yourself. So whenever you are standing in front of the mirror, just said, you are good, you are great, and more importantly, keep learning, keep sharing. Before you leave the channel, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you within another exciting video. And if you feel that you want to be on the podcast, reach out to me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. Follow me out there also. Till then, I'll see you. Stay safe, stay indoor, and whenever you get a chance, get vaccinated. Thank you so much. I'll see you with another live video lined up for you. Thank you so much.